And how do you manage the balance between your acting career and corporate commitments, particularly with your strategic consulting background and running Coffin Capital? Could you also share insights into your journey from being a global XBRL leader at KPMG and a founding member of the XBRL International Steering Committee, where you worked full time while attending night classes, to your transition into acting, and how your corporate experiences have influenced your passion for business and strategy, ultimately leading to the inception of your firm?
I mean, it's almost like you did an obituary. That was a very long background, but it is true. I had a very different background before I started acting. But before I did that background, which was management strategy consulting, I actually did begin in the arts. So it's a funny thing where I'm formally trained in acting. I went to acting school at Stella Adler in New York, and my MFA, Master of Fine Arts, postgraduate degree is in filmmaking from USC. I went to Columbia, studied literature, high honors, and I've done, a fairly, well qualified arts kind of training. And then I didn't use it at all, in the sense that I had to get a job. I just had to pay rent. I had to make some money, and I got a job, most surprisingly, I suppose, at a company called KPMG. KPMG is a accountancy, consultancy, tax, financial advisory firm, quite a large one around the world. I got the job by fluke. My CV said MFA, and the recruiter thought it meant Master of Financial Analysis, which I didn't lie. I put, and I didn't even know such a thing existed. But when I went for the interview, he told me the story afterwards, because at first I could see the look on his face after about 30 seconds. He could see that I wasn't what he thought I was. But then another look took on his face. And I guess the reason I'm going into this history is a little bit because even though I wasn't properly qualified and trained, I never took a business, accounting, finance class in my life, you could still see that, oh, he's bringing something interesting to the firm. Anyway, long story short, he pitched me, the partner in charge hired me, and then to everybody's surprise, I got promoted every single year. And the reason I bring this up is I think a lot of people who come from arts background, arts education, or the humanities, or psychology, or literature, I don't want to say they have an insecurity, but like Indian society is very much built on, high marks, you become a doctor, you go to ISRO, you become an engineer. If you are studying, English in college, sometimes just automatically people thought that your grades are not as good or something like that. And, and that's even English or something like that. If you go into I don't know, you study painting or arts, they probably think that you don't know how to do math at all. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I discovered something in the process of becoming a consultant. And I was, a global consultant. I worked in 30 countries. I had teams directly reporting to me in 7 countries, indirectly in about 20. My clients were like central banks and the Pentagon. I was, kind of frontline, business. I had MBAs working for me. And the reason I'm saying that is because counterintuitively, I learned in the process of doing business that actually going to film school and the arts education was the best business school I could have possibly have had. Now, I need to explain that a little bit because there is a role for MBAs in the world. Like if you're doing operations research and you need to know, you need to optimize certain kind of things, there's a role. And if you want to be a quant, you have to get a PhD in econometrics. Okay, there's a space. But in terms of doing business and looking at problems and trying to fix them, I went to film school, and the film school training is very basically, I have an idea in my head. I have some script, some thought. I want to make a story. This boy meets girl, girl meets boy. Okay, it's an idea in my head. And I have got to go and recruit a cinematographer who's a very technically oriented person with aesthetics, but he's with the gear. And then I've got to go and recruit and charm and convince a diva, an actress. And I've got to go and get the money man to come and give me the budget. And I've got to get the sound guy and the rights. I've got to collect 50 different people who have 50 very different personalities, 50 very different expertise, and pull them together to my vision. Not that they make 50 different movies, but they all come together towards, as a director or producer, the vision that I have in my head, which I document in the form of a script. Now, in the world of business, that would be I have an idea, I'm going to make a business plan, I'm going to go to venture capitalists and other entrepreneurs, I need some engineers, I need a marketing guy. It's the same thing. But the difference is when you go to get an MBA, and again, no disrespect to a lot of the good work that business schools can do, but I don't want to say it's academic, but in film school, you're actually doing it. You know, your first semester, you're making 6 short films. That's 6 little businesses. That's 6 little ideas that you have to bring to reality. And then the budgets get bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the end of the 3rd year, you're doing a bigger project. And that, even though after film school, I didn't go working in film, I actually went to KPMG. I ended up using those skills more than anything else I could have imagined. And I don't think I would have done that well in business if I got an MBA. I really don't. So I just say this, I don't know how big the audience is for these comments, but these comments are really directed at maybe, I don't want to say the mavericks, but the people who want to follow their own path. Because in the world of creativity, most people thought I'm very organized. In the world of kind of highly regulated business, like when you're working with financial regulators, everybody thought I was very creative. So you can bring left brain, right brain, you can pull these two together in your own way. And that makes you different. Because honestly, there was no reason for me to have, it was a fluke I got the job, and it was a fluke that I got promoted. It was a fluke that I got promoted 6 times. It was insane. and you know, it made no sense. Except that those skills of actually going from 0 to 1, like literally creating something, that's actually a fantastic business school. That is a business school in itself. So anyway, that's the story of how I did that. I went around the world, and that brought me to India. First as a businessman, I came here to give a lecture at the Securities and Exchange Board of India, and then I kept coming back to India.